The smartest guys around are about to break it down like they've won the game a million times.
Well, actually, they didn't really win the game at all.
Survivor know it all. Survivor know it all.
They know it all, and they are back here for Survivor Know-It-Alls here as we had Yellow Sophie. We're down to only one Sophie, and we'll talk about it all here with a guy who it's never strenuous to talk to this guy. There's no strong dislike here for Stephen Fishbach.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Such an honor to be here. I literally just stepped in the door from Walt Disney World. I flew back, drove home, walked in the door and started podcasting. So I watched Survivor along the way. Yeah. It was amazing.
I didn't know you were doing that this week.
Oh yeah. We were at Disney for two. It's incredible.
How was it?
What are the highlights? I'm very pro Disney. I had my bachelor party at Disney World.
Yes.
Which was a regret. I think nobody enjoyed it particularly. But this was more fun with two small children for whom the park is designed. It was extremely fun. And I feel like the park was designed for me. I had an amazing time too.
Okay. All right. What was your favorite ride?
We went on a lot of the Small World, like seeing my children gape and wonder. And also we got to talk about all the different countries and how you could tell which country was which. So we made something magical into something tedious and dull.
And then can you give us, just to get us started tonight, a metaphor of how is Disneyland, Disney World like Survivor? What's happening right now in the game?
Well, I will say you have a lot of different groups with competing interests, right? They all want the same thing, which is to get on the ride at the same time. But they all kind of have to respect each other and the rules of the game, which is the lines and the lightning lanes and all that.
Yeah, and it is the new era of Disney where you have to have the fast pass and the lightning lane and the app and all this stuff. And people are like, bring back the old era.
Yeah, bring back people climbing over each other to get ahead. Bring back the villains of
Disney.
There's
a lot of new characters that weren't there. We're like, where are the old characters? Like, we don't know. We're giving you the new characters. So there's a lot of similarity. All right. That being said, we'll talk about everything from, that they said that the post-merge game was going to be fluid. There was going to be a lot going on. I have to say, coming into tonight, I did not think that it was going to be Yellow Sophie who went home. I believe she got the fishy last week.
I know. I was going to say this is a major mea culpa. And honestly, I feel like I got lazy with the fishing. And also it's a little bit of all the pressure from you, Rob. This is really your fault because you don't let me give it to the weather or Jeff or something. So we have to find someone. But I will say, we used to very clearly always say the person who flips from one group to the other, they're often the person who's voted out. We've been saying this since since freaking, I remember talking about Cochran in Survivor 26, he jumped from one group to the other, or Fincher in
he actually did very well in 26.
Oh, so 23. Yes. 26. Yes. Or even talking about it with John Fincher on Survivor 19, he goes from one group to the other and is the next voted out. We've been talking about that move of trying to jump from one group to the other and then immediately getting cut because neither group wants you around. So major mea culpa, me giving Sophie fishy. Enjoy your ill-gotten gains.
Retroactive re-examination. What did we miss from last week's episode? And so much more to talk about here. I will talk with Yellow Sophie coming up tomorrow on our exit interview. And then I'm very excited. I got a fun podcast coming up on Thursday night. Going to talk to a duo, Austin and Drew from Survivor 45. And then I will catch up with Bryce later on this week here on a jam-packed week 11 of RHAP. And of course, if you are not joining us every week on Chat BCC, what are you even doing? Do you even know how to do reality TV? Go to robhasawebsite.com/VIP chat to join in on all the fun for free. A ton of survivors there now.
Yeah, it's really Sandra.
Yeah.
Sandra's there.
Yeah. Come on over.
Yeah.
All right. So Yeah, let's talk about. I have so many questions about like almost from every single player's perspective. Almost every single player had a decision to make tonight, and I think a lot of them did not make the right decisions, and we ultimately end up in a 6-1 vote where it was really that the edit was giving us that it was going to be a 4-3 vote. Soph was going to be the deciding vote between the two sides of you had Yellow Sophie and Kristina and Steven. Their interests were aligned, and then Rizzo and Savannah got Sage to come back home, back to them, and wanting to take out Sophie, and Soph was going to be the deciding factor, and it was a 6-1 vote. And I feel like when it's a 6-1 vote at the final 7, at least 3 people made the wrong decision.
Yeah. But I did love, and I really love this
and
episode.
Probably 4.
Yeah. Well, and really like maybe 5, ultimately. But like, I do feel like, this was such a great episode of Survivor because we did get to see every single player basically trying to figure out their game and their conflicting motivations. Not always game, with Kristina and Sage, it did seem a little more personal than anything. But this was the thing we've been wanting from Survivor. I mean, as long as I've been talking about Survivor, my biggest frustration with the show is like, there's 7 people out there and I'm only hearing 3 people's stories. I only know like the strategy and for like a handful of them. To get basically everybody's perspective on like, here's who I want to get out of the game and here's why. Like that is, I truly like, I'm sure there's times we've gotten that before, but it is so unusual. And it was so satisfying to me to see everybody getting every single person's perspective.
Okay, so maybe let's try something new today. Let's talk through it player by player and talk about where they are in the game and the decisions that they had to make. And I'd like to actually start with Sage, who comes into this episode, and Sage's story the whole season has been that she felt like that she was at the bottom of Uli, and it was people like Shannon and Savannah were the people that were holding her back. And finally, after the merge, her and Jawan come into power, and that they made the big move. They voted out Nate, and then they were sort of nibbling around the margins, not really knowing how to handle Rizzo's idol. And then last week, they felt like it was going to be their coup de grace. They were going to flush Rizzo's idol out of the game or get out Savannah. I forget exactly who they were putting the votes on. And then Yellow Sophie blew up the plan, and then ultimately Jawan went home, and Sage will not rest until Jawan gets her revenge. She has to do it for Jawan, and does the unthinkable and votes with Savannah and Rizzo. And so first off, let me say, from a sheer lover of the game perspective, I love that there are people out there that have this motivation. But this was shades of Abby Maria. If you F with me, you're dead.
Yeah. Honestly, and like I have been in this situation of being Jawan, when Spencer like blindsided me in Cambodia, and I every week on the jury was like, just vote out Spencer. Give me my revenge, Jeremy. Give me my revenge. And he never did it. And it was so frustrating every week. So what a great friend, what a great
friend. Yeah. And really that we saw from Sage's perspective that she needed to do this to, make up for what she did to Jawan. But then we saw Jawan, who a very nice sweater for Jawan, I thought, on the
turtleneck,
jury.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have rarely seen somebody on the jury in the new era, like cheering for, yes, get her, she did this.
Yeah, it was actually kind of emotional, like to see that, like, and Sage was like, yeah, got him. Her facial expressions are always very intense.
They connected, but I feel like that Sage, I thought, won the battle today, but did she lose the war?
Yeah,
or had the war already been lost? And that she said to Sophie in this episode, you just gave her $1 million, and that Sage says, you did this, not me, and so I will now be working to help Savannah win the game.
Right. So there is a world, right? Well, so first of all, like, let's just like, there's also just like a fog of mistrust, right?
I'm being a little flip. I don't think.
No, for sure. No, and I mean, I do think she made the wrong choice, but I think we should caveat that with saying, the right choice would be to 100% trust this group of, or at least one person who's Yellow Sophie, right? That she has not trusted at all, that literally just lied to her the previous vote. So, on the one hand, like, yes, I think abstractly, I think we are going to agree that voting out Savannah was the best move for Sage here. But voting out Savannah meant that the 4 people voting for Savannah would be Steven, Kristina, Sage, and both Sophies, either of the Sophies, really. You just need one. Both of them have been lying to Sage. So, like, to trust them in this big move. But that said, I do think it was a mistake. It does seem like giving, that Sophie, Yellow Sophie is more someone who wants to kind of like, who is willing to work with Sage moving forward, who does kind of want to play that middle role. And then ultimately she's eliminating that person in favor of someone who definitely does not want to work with her going down the stretch. Is there a world, like, what is Sage's perspective of, the dynamic in the next vote? She probably thinks it's 3-3. Like, she may think that's actually better. This is the Rob Cesternino special, right? Like, get rid of Christy. We don't know where she's going to vote, so get rid of her, And then,
well, no, I would not say that that's exactly right, because it wasn't like that. It was like, okay, Christy, I'm mad at her. I'm going to, if anything, Jenna and Heidi were, they were the ones that wanted, to take out Christy because they didn't like her. I felt like that for Sage, I think that she was sort of in a situation of like, hey, either Savannah or Sophie is going to win, and Sophie just burned me, so she's the one who has to pay today.
Yeah.
What do I care? If
that's the problem.
One of them's going to be the odds-on favorite to win, and so if I get rid of one of them, it doesn't matter which one, and she's the one that pissed me off.
Yeah, that is the problem with being the flipper. And again, like, really overlooked that last week, because we have been saying this for, at least 10 years, maybe more.
Yeah, well, I felt like that in the conversation about Sophie from last week, that I was like, okay, well, yeah, she made the move to do this. I feel like I was a little hesitant of like, was this a good move? She went away from the side that had the numbers to go to the smaller side that we said, okay, well, maybe she's at the bottom of a 5 versus the bottom of a 4, and 4 is better than 5. But that 5 seemed like more like a disconnected 5, and she was more of a distant 4th. I do wonder just how much things might have changed had Steven not been immune in this episode. Like, could that 4 have stuck together for a simple vote and things really unraveled for Sophie, where that easy vote of taking out Steven ended up being off the table?
Yeah. I think that's a really good call, that suddenly they have to reconsider who they're voting for. But no, you fully said, like, last week, I was me who really pushed for that she was probably the one who deserved credit. And that was horrible.
I'm not doing like, hey, I was right. I said, I think in last week's episode, I'm not sure how to process this. It seemed like that she did move up one spot in the pecking order, but it does seem like that you could break up. That side has the Rizzo idol. That side also had, knowledge is power.
Savannah's extra vote at the time.
But they also have that unbreakable Savannah and Rizzo bond. They don't even talk about going after each other. So it just seemed like that might have been, while numerically there were less of them, that it seemed like that there was a lot more inroads for potentially being in a group of 5 with 2 duos of Jawan and Sage, and then also Steven and Kristina. Let's talk about then from, I think that for Yellow Sophie, things are pretty cut and dry. She is wanting to vote out Steven. Then she was like, I don't know about him getting on the boat. I guess she could have, as the challenge beast that she is, gone and tried to block him from getting that advantage. I think that we saw certainly a few players not wanting Rachel to go, and I'm trying to remember who exactly it was. I want to say maybe did Rachel go to try to block Sam and Genevieve from going to get the advantage in season 47? But we have seen players try to do that, and it was an interesting tree mail on the part of the producers to call it a strenuous journey. And I think that had they not included that, I think a few more players might have said, okay, well, let me try to block somebody from doing it. So they kind of forced a situation where only the most desperate player was going to get to go.
Which seems crazy from basically, I mean, given that like it sure seemed like Steven was the majority's pick for who people wanted out, letting him go into this situation where he might get this superpowered advantage just seems like really sloppy play, I have to say. And we had a lot of people saying afterwards, like, Sophie said that. I think Soph said that. I think maybe even Rizzo said that, like, why are we letting Steven do this? Now there did seem to be some argument at the time. I think Savannah especially said, we want him to be exhausted so that he doesn't win immunity. But,
well, how'd that work out?
Yeah, well, sure. I mean,
hot.
Yeah.
He got on a roll. But in fairness to Yellow Sophie, I really feel like that Steven winning immunity is a bigger deal than Steven having this advantage. I think even if Yellow Sophie had gone and gotten an advantage, there might have been more heat on her going into this vote than there ultimately ended up being in this episode. But let's talk about it. Let's go to Steven, okay? Not you. Steven Ram, who had such a big episode, and we'll see if he gets the fishy for all of his efforts, but he did the hardest thing he ever had to do. He went to the journey and got a vote block. He ran a lap around the island. Yeah,
which was, P.S., like, some of the things he was doing were some of the most risky things I've ever seen anyone do in Survivor, like climbing up these like narrow volcanic. I mean, after
did we learn nothing from Matthew Van whatever Grosses? I don't even remember how to pronounce his last name. Yeah, I thought that was crazy. I remember in Survivor All Stars, Big Tom was walking on rocks like that, and he ate it so hard, and like really, I think hurt his tailbone very hard. That those rocks are so slippery. I really was surprised that the Survivor producers, I mean, I'm sure they tested it beforehand, but like to
test like a slippery rock.
Go as fast as you can across the slippery rocks.
And like, I mean, I thought like in some ways I was kind of gratified by that because like it felt like Survivor now does sometimes feel like it's a little bit like speaking of Disney World, a little bit of sort of like an enclosed magical little world where it's very safe and there's lines. And I think back, I mean, I remember Colby, even in Heroes versus Villains, feeling very frustrated by the fact that there was like camp boundaries, right? You couldn't leave past this one line. And then, because he missed the old days when you could just kind of strike off into the wilderness. And there was that kind of sense of like, holy cow, like this guy's doing something like, he's really out there in this like crazy wilderness environment doing things that are quite risky. That being said, like this wasn't just a guy exploring. This was part of a prescribed challenge that was, he was handed. That was like go as fast as you can across these extremely treacherous rocks. Yeah. Like if that had been me, like I would be dead, Rob. Thank God Steven, is more
the younger you, maybe.
I don't know. I mean, for sure, current me. Forget current me. Like, no. But like, who's who are the awkward ones out there? Like, is who's bad at challenges out there right now? Like, well, let's imagine if any one of them got.
I'm not gonna say.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. I was like, I don't want to know. Yeah, you, Rob, tell us who the worst physical competitors are out there.
That's what the comment section is for.
Yeah, but like, imagine, like, truly, like. This looked really dangerous, but he does it with time to spare. Like that pot had barely like raised at all.
Yeah, hard to tell how much time was left in before it was going to go up. But okay, so Steven then gets a vote block.
What do you think about the vote block for that challenge?
So it was interesting. I did feel like kind of like weak, like just in terms of there's no rhyme or reason of like who like. Soph does nothing. Goes out into the woods, finds the most powerful advantage in the game. Knowledge is power. Steven like risks it all. Public advantage. Goes on the journey. Like risks his life. Runs around. Comes back. You got a vote block.
Yeah. Which is like basically Rizzo. Like maybe like slightly more powerful than an extra vote, but like I'm not even sure because you at least can control the extra vote 100%.
So yeah, I think that again, this is not necessarily my area of expertise. I think that the vote block is actually more powerful pre-merge in the smaller tribes where you're going into a very small vote. Now we will be in a 6-person
with a 3-3 with a 3-3. This is like the perfect situation to have a vote block. So it is like in terms of what
I feel like on the odd number, I think you'd rather have the vote steal, and then on the even number, you want the vote block.
Yeah, it is really the perfect moment to have a vote block with a 3-3. group, a 3-3 split vote potentially next week.
Yeah. Now, I don't know exactly like on the whiteboard for the season. It's sort of like, okay, oh, well, that the winner of the challenge that Savannah got an extra vote, and then we'll put an extra vote, and we'll also put a vote block, and it'll also go like set up for great drama. I don't know if that's how they figured out, but it was so interesting that Rizzo, who knows the show so well, says, I know exactly what he got. He got a vote steal. So
had to be a vote steal based on everything he did.
It has to be a vote steal. And so there's this very interesting back and forth where Rizzo, and we can start to bring him into this a little bit, goes to Steven. I know what you have. I know you have vote steal. And Steven, to his credit, doesn't give anything away. And so a big relationship to have watched in this episode was the Rizzo and Steven back and forth of what they want to do. And so Rizzo, and maybe that, what happens when you make assumptions. Now, he's very proactive. Rizzo is like, I know he has a thing. I can't let that thing go off. So I need to now engage with Steven. But Steven does not have as powerful of a thing as Rizzo believes that he has. And so Rizzo now is playing ball with Steven. But I think that Steven made a mistake in that if people think he has the vote steal, this is like having like the fake idol. If people think he has the vote steal, he did not act as though he had the vote steal. And I think that if the information got out that he had the vote steal, I think that he could have gotten Soph to vote with them on this, rather, and assuming Soph wasn't going to steal it, that it's like, hey, if he tells Soph, hey, by the way, I do have the vote steal. I'm stealing Rizzo's vote tonight. Okay. So me and Kristina, I'm stealing Rizzo's vote. It's going to be, and Yellow Sophie is with us. So you're going to be on the wrong side of the vote, Blue Soph.
But then what happens at Tribal Council when Jeff was like, does anyone have any advantages you want to play? He doesn't steal Rizzo's vote. Then he puts no pressure on Rizzo to, play his idol.
So I wonder, like, when you sort of like bake these plans ahead of time.
Yeah.
Do you know? So if you, so
this is a very high risk choice.
Well, just think, I think like everybody opted for whatever with the safest, everybody was the most risk averse possible, I think, tonight. And so you had Steven, if he goes to Soph and says, hey, listen, it's me, Kristina, Sophie, and I'm stealing Rizzo's vote tonight. Okay. So we have 4. Are you going to be on the right side of the numbers or the wrong side of the numbers? What do you want to do? And then I don't know, they would still have 4. What do you think she does? You think that she would go with them?
She might reconsider because she's got time to reconsider. Presumably she's in on whatever the Rizzo Savannah plan is, right? But I do think you're right. I think if Steven had really pushed to eliminate Savannah here, he could have. First of all, I want to say I think Steven played it really well. I have also been in that exact situation where people don't know what your advantage is.
Yes.
And
I think he also played that part well.
Yeah.
But I think that he did not get the most that he could have out of this.
But there's a world where, like, my concern and what happened to me is like the speculation about what the advantage is ultimately hurt me because people became so fixated that it could be this huge thing. So it became a bigger target. He played it really well to the opposite of that, where he wanted people to speculate that it was this huge thing to like make them reevaluate their plans and be scared. And I thought that was very smart. I mean, different era, but
all right. And just let me talk this through one more time. So he did have the vote block. I think the way that it works, like he tells a producer before they go to Tribal Council whose vote he wants to block. Could he tell Soph, like, hey, by the way, I blocked Rizzo's vote tonight. So unless you vote with us, it's gonna be a 3-3 tie.
Right.
Me, Kristina, and Sophie, we're voting for Savannah tonight. So and I'm blocking Rizzo's vote. And so if you don't vote with us, it's going to be a tie. You're going to have to draw rocks.
But his strategy, which I actually really like, was to try to get to next week. Now, he doesn't know, of course, about Soph's knowledge is power.
Right.
So I like that his strategy.
But what's going to be different next week? Sage is they lost. Is Sage going to come back and vote with them next week?
Yeah, I think that's what he's expecting. Is that Sage really wanted to get out. So Yellow Sophie this week, but everybody knows Sage's number one priority is getting out Savannah, and that this was like a temporary reprieve from that vendetta. And next week you've got Steven, Kristina, and Sage against Rizzo, Savannah, and Soph. Honestly, I think like Soph is a weaker ally there. So I don't think it's crazy for Steven to think like, if I hold my block of vote for one more week, I've got a 3-3 tie and like something extremely tactical and useful. Now, I do think you're right that had he done the whole like extra vote kind of thing, like I got, or steal a vote, he might have been able to get Savannah out just based purely on chutzpah. But I also think that that could potentially blow up for him, both because then when he doesn't play it, Soph is like, what's going on? And then next week, she's going to be less likely to flip with him if he is, if like he's just like totally lied to her face.
I just feel like that if you're Steven and, you know, Rizzo has all this power and you are doing what he wants at this point in the game, you're probably not doing what's best for you.
Yeah. No, I mean, but like, I'm with you. I agree with you. I mean, I think Rizzo is playing a fantastic game. Like I give more credit to Rizzo,
yeah,
you know, and then I do take away credit from Steven. I think Steven is making really smart choices tactically based on what he's seeing before him, which is a potential 3-3 tie, him having a vote block. Rizzo's got an idol, which he's probably not playing for Savannah, and, you know, not knowing about the knowledge is power. Like, to me, that's really strong. Like you're getting rid of Sophie, like Yellow Sophie, who's just betrayed you. You can't trust her. And then next week, you basically know where the votes are going and you have something extremely powerful.
Let's bring in Rizzo and talk about his moves this week from his perspective. Now, I mentioned that he is going to assume that, and that was an error, that he assumes that Steven has something that's even more powerful than what Steven ultimately has. But he is playing aggressively. He's playing on offense. And I think that, you know, like Tony, we used to say back in Survivor, like Tony would wake up and make so many mistakes, and then he would spend then the second half of the day fixing all the mistakes that he made. And so while like Rizzo, I think, gets out over his skis in terms of trying to figure out what Steven has and is making assumptions, it's forcing him then to engage Steven in a way that he had not engaged before, to the tune of he gets taken on a reward by frickin' Steven and Kristina.
I bet that's a little bit. I think that's more based on like their politics of who has eaten and like when they last ate.
Who cares? No. It's day 20.
I agree. Listen, don't talk to me about it. Like, I just think that is
Q.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah. I think the survivors care a lot. When you're out there, it's all you talk about is who hasn't eaten and how long. And I think there's
big
also
freaking deal.
There's also just a human element. You know?
Cut Steven's internet. Like, cut Steven's internet. This is a bad take. Okay.
I'm not saying it's right, but that's my read.
I just reached out to the ISP to throttle you. You get such a bad take. Send him down to dial up.
Look, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just think that's what is happening here. I think that's why probably Steven took Rizzo more. I mean, you're also, obviously they were just being engaged strategically. So it's not crazy that he would want to like kind of bring Rizzo in that way. So I think it's probably both. But I do think it was also human. But you let Rizzo go another round with his freaking, like, this was of the 4 last votes. This was like the least stress that Rizzo had to be about playing. Like, how does it get easier every week? Yeah, for him to not play his idol? Well, at this point, I think they're probably just going to let him through, right? Like at this point, they maybe think like, hey,
just let him be in the final 4. Who cares?
Yeah. Is Final 5 the last time you can play the idol?
Yes.
That's crazy. That's a flaw in the game. The game is flawed.
Okay, write that down. Write that down. So the ability to play idols until the final 5 and then a final 4 fire making. Steven says this could be a flaw in the game. I
have some other.
Let the record show.
What about a final 2? What about the final? Okay, this is the week that it really clicked for me about how great a game Rizzo is playing. And I think for a lot of people, it was last week they saw it, and I was seeing that a lot on the internet about people saying like, this is the week Rizzo truly was a Riz god. But for me, like, and I saw it, I was like, yeah, he's playing a really good game. Like, to me, this was the week, and I don't know, maybe it was because I had like a lot of coffee or I was just in a really good mood.
You just came back from the happiest place on earth.
I guess that was it. You know, it was like, I was like, wow, Rizzo is really playing like an exceptional game among the like best first season games, I think. And I hate to use hyperbole, but certainly an exceptional game. I don't want to rank. You know what that is, but
Right.
like he has taken this idea. He has taken this idea of like finding a consensus boot who's kind of at the bottom of the whole group and like really elevated that into an entire philosophy. 3 is not a great number with 11 or whatever, but he has consistently taken these moments to find a person who everybody can agree on, who seems to be more at the bottom of all the hierarchies, and directing votes that way. And that every single week gives him more and more relative power because his tight 3 becomes more and more powerful as he gets rid of MC, as he gets rid of, Alex. And then as he gets rid of Jawan, he's taking these people who are sort of in the middle and consistently eliminating them. And that both keeps him in the game, keeps his idol in the game, and then gives his own tight 3 more power till next week. They're basically in charge of the game. We'll see what happens with Steven's vote, but he's doing such an exceptional job of it. And, Fishy for Rizzo. Let's go with it. Fishy for Rizzo.
Wow, early in the show, we didn't even play the bumper.
We'll talk about it later.
And so I really like how you're framing this because I don't think I have heard it as articulately said as you have put this together, where that we've talked about like, there are 2 sides, but rather than 2 sides attacking each other, that it seems like his game plan has been that there are 2 sides and then he says, let's attack the middle. And so let's find, rather than go after like one of your key numbers, like who can we find among the riffraff in the middle that we can pile the votes on this week and then build a consensus to target the people that are just like really, it's sort of like when the people that are really polarized online that really go after the people that are the centrists and say like, hey, it's your fault.
Yeah. That's basically it. It really is. And of course, I think he's using the fear of his idol very successfully, where I think this only really works because people are like a little bit wary of putting the votes on him or even Savannah, lest, it blows up.
So I think that, and I mentioned Tony before in terms of just like the speed at which Tony plays. And then even if he makes a mistake, that he plays so fast that he can go back and correct it, that he also has had the ability where that like Tony of, okay, I have like a, Woo and Trish, but then also sometimes I'm going to bring in Spencer and Tasha, but then I'm going to go back and vote with the other people. But then like, okay, I got a new carrot here for you this week. Hey, you guys want to come over and vote with me this week? Like he's been able to, do that pretty effectively also, where that somehow he gets Steven and Kristina voting with him this week after that they have been trying to get him out of the game for weeks.
And I think some of that is just kind of remaining humble. Like you see, it's like Steven says, as soon as I got that advantage, I could see Rizzo, like I could see the wheels turning in with Rizzo. I think he is constantly keeping this sense of like, I've got to work hard to get to make today happen. Right. I mean, he even said that, like today, like tomorrow's not a given or something. So, and I think like, suddenly he sees, okay, there's a new problem. Steven's got this advantage. I need to work hard here. I need to direct my energy there. So I think he's always in this kind of attitude of, I just need to like make sure whatever problem is coming up, I am addressing it like full steam ahead. That's what a lot of the most successful Survivor players do, is they continually assess and examine where the biggest threats and problems are, and then apply themselves full force to those problems. And just through the personalities and just through the effort, they're able to solve that.
We got some information about the fake idol that Rizzo played in last week's episode. And we had a lot of ideas of, was he trying to dunk on Jawan? Did he do the thing where, I want to read the room before I play? Is he going to tell people like, well, that wasn't my, or I never had an idol. This was, I guess I had a fake idol the whole time. That it was actually none of the things. I didn't really hear this talked about, that this fake idol was just bait to try to get Kristina to play the real idol. Now, the timing on this would have been very interesting in terms of how this worked, where it's almost like he would have needed to like stand up and like fumble for his keys and then finally like get the thing out, and then Kristina like races to the podium to beat him there. I think it would have been a fun back and forth of you go first, no, you go first, sort of like in Survivor, Australian Survivor versus the World with Parvati and Luke. Sort of like, oh, do you want to play your thing or should I play my thing? How should we do this? And it would have been like very interesting to have seen it go down that way.
Yeah, because I don't even understand how that, because I imagine if he's something for his idol, like in any normal world, Kristina's just going to let him do it. And then he goes up and plays it as a fake. And then,
but she doesn't know it's a fake. So she would know it was
a fake, right? Because he would hand it to Jeff.
It's like, okay, she's like, okay, well, if he's going to play his idol, I'm going to play mine. So he stands up. He's like, Jeff, I'm playing my idol tonight. And so like, but then he's got a sort of like, it's like where the check comes in the restaurant and it's like, oh, okay, let me I'm looking for my wallet here. I must have, is it in my other backpack? Uh-oh, this is embarrassing. And so, like, I think he's just hoping that she goes up and plays her thing first while he's like, he has to take one of the idols first.
I mean, that makes sense if it's like Parvati and Luke, who are both these like big theatrical figures, but like, I don't think Kristina's going to like jump in on Jeff here, like out of the way, Rizzo.
Uncle Jay, I got to play my idol before Rizzo.
Yeah. I just don't, I really am curious, and hopefully we remember to ask him how he imagined that going down, because I really don't see how that works.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll
listen, the way it worked out was good. You again, full credit.
Hold on. We gotta get where Steven is giving me credit clean. We're back.
So I really have to give you credit, Rob. You said last week, that
finally
Rizzo was pure theater, and I was like, no, it was strategy. And normally I'm the like, it's nothing a strategy, these are all just messy humans person. But you said it was theater. I said no, he was gauging reactions. I was giving him the benefit of the doubt. I was wrong. You were right once again.
I guess I didn't have the motive right though. I think it was that it was kind of like, well, I don't need to use it, but I made the thing, and they said that you can get on Survivor 50 if you do cool stuff, so I'm gonna do it anyway. I came here with a fake idol. I might as well use the fake idol. But I thought it was a little bit more just to like do a move to Jawan, and I think it was just more like, well, like we had all the fireworks, like we don't need them, but let's just shoot them anyway.
Yeah. So, I mean, and it's interesting, from his perspective, he says at the start of the episode, like the jury loved it. They were eating it up. Like if I make it to the end, then I'm sitting golden. And then you have Sage say that, hey, he was just twisting the knife. He was just rubbing it in. He didn't have to do all that flashy stuff when he was eliminating my really good friend and crushing his dream. Where are you? Is this like in the new era when so much is just jury theatrics, basically? Do you think this is the good kind of jury theatrics where like the jury's gonna be like, that guy's making moves? Or is this bad where people are gonna feel hurt?
So that's an interesting question. I had asked Jawan when I did the exit interview, and we didn't get to talk to Jawan until Monday this past week. I said, Jawan, when you were sitting there and Rizzo pulled out the fake idol, based off of what you knew there, did you feel like that he was like kind of like rubbing it in? And Jawan said, yeah, I did kind of feel like that. And so Sage got that also, but I bet MC and Alex were like, yeah, we loved it. So, you sort of like win some, you lose some with it. So I don't know if it's necessarily going to be something that, costs Rizzo the game.
Yeah. Let's talk about it from Soph's perspective, because she's someone who's really interesting here. And, this episode, we got a little of it last episode, but this episode, she was giving me, well, I should say, is she giving you, Rob, a little bit of a Mitch vibe? Oh, I got to turn on.
No, I don't think she's necessarily going to give me, no, I'm not getting the Mitch vibe, because I think that, she has like the one bullet in the gun of that she can make the move. Mitch had an extra vote and he wasted it to get out Say. And then he had like one real opportunity to flip and then didn't flip at that time and was sort of like holding out hope for Kyle and Camilla to come through and go with him. And then they're like, I don't think so. So that he sort of like abdicated his one shot that he had to really like flip the game upside down. Soph still has the knowledge is power, and she also still has opportunities to, there's just first off, she's more in the camp of she is headed towards the final three right now, but she won't win. And so I think that it's not so much that she's trying to figure out her position of how do I get to the end. She's more in the situation that we've seen a few survivors in the new era, where it's like, yeah, I'm headed to the final three, but I don't have a chance to win right now because I don't have anything on my resume. And so she's sort of like in the mode of, I need a Hail Mary for my resume, but she happens to have the ammo to be able to do that. And we saw in season 42 with Marianne, as somebody who did have the ammo to be able to do it, that it was something that, it was able to, like, Jake O'Kane did not have the ammo to. Or did he have an idol too? Did he? Was he sitting on an idol?
I don't think Jake had an idol. Did he? I don't think so.
Okay, let's confirm that. I know at the final five that there was the whole play with him and Katora, and they couldn't get on the same page. And he felt like, okay, this is going to be my big move to take out D. I'll ask Austin and Drew about it tomorrow, but she has the ammo to be able to like flip the game on its head. And we see her like telling us like, hey, I know that I am third with Savannah and Rizzo. I need to make a move to switch this up. And we see her talking to Sage and talking to Sophie. She ultimately goes with the group. I mean, I think that the ship had already left the station, or the train left the station, in terms of the 6-1 vote. So there really wasn't a flip for her to make in this episode. She could have potentially stolen Steven's advantage, but to waste the knowledge is power on a vote block seems like kind of, a trade down to be able to do that. But she's definitely breadcrumbing us that she's going to do something.
Yeah. Do you think that she should have pushed harder to get out Savannah here? What's your take on that? Like, let's say you're saying the train has left the station, but the episode was kind of saying this is the conductor. Do you think that there's a world where she should have pushed harder to get Savannah?
Well, I think that Steven and Kristina were already on board with the Rizzo plan. They love the idea of not having to use the advantage and saving it for the next round. And so that they seemed pretty committed, and maybe Kristina might have been a little bit more, hey, let's still try to get out Savannah. But Steven seemed like pretty good with his deal he made with Rizzo.
Yeah, I think Soph made the right call here. I just wanted to, put it to you first.
There was no call to make other than, should I try to steal Rizzo's idol this week? I think that for her, there were no votes coming her this way. She keeps her powder dry. I think that she has there's less time for it to come back around on her, where we saw Yellow Sophie make her move last week and it blew up this week. So I think that for Blue Soph, and now we can call her Sophie now.
No, but it's in the intro as Soph. I didn't even know. I don't know when it started being in the intro as Soph.
Ago.
This was okay. The other thing, like to your point, like if she does this flip on Savannah, which is again like purely hypothetical, those are her allies. Like Rizzo and Savannah are her allies. Yes. So like she would be turning on the people who she is working with and who are protecting her at the final 6.
But
final 7,
that the jury.
Well, they would love that, but like then she has to get through 4 votes, 6, 5, 4.
Well, she has to get through, potentially making a fire.
Two votes, I guess. Two votes on a fire making challenge. So
I did think
maybe that's the right time. Is that final 6 actually, or is the final 7? 6, 5, 4,
we could have maybe an advantage get-in coming up in next week's episode, where, and not quite an advantage get-in, but I mean that in that we could have potentially Steven playing the vote block. We could have either Rizzo playing his idol. We could have potentially also Soph stealing the idol.
Well, so here's a question I have for you, Rob. 2 questions actually. First of all, is knowledge
and then
power?
I have a question for you.
Well, I got two. Don't go before
maybe
I'm
one of your questions will be the question I'm going to ask you.
Is Soph, like, knowledge is power expires at 6? Is that correct? Or 5?
I don't think we've ever seen it get that far.
All right.
I don't know.
So, I mean, the question is, Steven has to play his vote block before tribal council. So if Soph then uses knowledge as power on him, that would be a dud.
It
Wouldn't
would
that
be a
sad?
dud. Yeah.
And then what about, so do you think, is there a world where her using knowledge's power on Steven is ever the right move here versus
No,
Savannah?
it's not the right move, and it's also not the move that she thinks is going to help her win the game. I think her issue
Right.
is that she needs to like do something to outshine Savannah and Rizzo, and stealing Steven's vote block or vote steal is not going to potentially do anything for her.
Does she know that? Or does she think, hey, I just got to use this thing to show I've done something?
I think she feels like that, yeah, this is my ace in the hole. I need to use this thing to be able to get out one of these two. And maybe she's thinking like, okay, well, maybe I could vote out Savannah and then, steal Rizzo's idol and then get rid of him. I could get rid of potentially both of them. I did think it was a little dangerous for her to go to Sage, who has been so anti-Savannah throughout this whole game, and she's telling her the plan. But then Sage starts hanging out with Savannah.
But I think that's just like the enemy of my enemy is my enemy.
Yeah.
I don't think she and Sage are she and Savannah are friends by any means.
Yeah. Okay. My question for you is that we saw Kristina play her idol this week. Do you think another idol has been hidden in the camp, or do you think the production is happy to have just one idol in the game?
Oh, more idols, right? There's got to be an idol out there.
I'm trying to think of what the precedent is in the new era in terms of when they hide another idol. And I think that maybe, I know in Survivor 47, we had Rachel play an idol at the final 6, correct? And then I don't know if another one was hidden there, but to have one idol played at the final 8, that was also the idol that was like, I don't know if they consider that. Okay, so Kristina found that idol post-merge. Is the post-merge idol back in play? Like, do they want 2 idols? Like,
maybe they don't. You don't want 2 idols at like 6, right, or 5 even. Then you've got like one person eligible.
You don't think they want 2 idols?
But you're
7?
thinking, but like if they're thinking like it's 7 already, that means like there's 2. Probably not getting paid to play this week. It could, 6 and 5. And then like we've got. Right. I don't know. I don't think they want that.
I don't know exactly how it works, and maybe in the On Fire podcast one day Jeff will explain it. Of that, do they have like a certain number of idols in the game? And like certainly, if Rizzo played his idol at that tribal council, they would not want 0 idols in the game, so that they would certainly hide another idol. But do they want 2 idols in the game still at the final 7? I think that's unclear. Especially they knew that there was a journey coming up, and so there was going to be another advantage, but. If you have a knowledge is power in the game and no advantages, like I have a feeling that maybe you'd see them.
Yeah. But you also you don't necessarily want one group to have 2 idols and a knowledge is, you don't want suddenly one group to be basically invincible. It just removes all the drama from the episode. What about Kristina's perspective? So Kristina hates Savannah. That was a very funny exchange.
No, she strongly dislikes her.
Yeah. That was such a funny exchange because you never see people saying stuff like that personal at tribal council.
We love to see it. We love to see it in the new era, people not getting along. And so that was very fun. I thought that Jeff was fun with talking about it. Even Jeff was surprised, like, what?
Yeah.
Survivor players are saying they don't like each other?
And Savannah was like, no, we're just in the wrong alliance together, just sort of papering it over. But Kristina really, went there.
Kristina really does not care for Savannah.
Yeah. Do you think this was a mistake for her not to push harder to get Savannah out? I mean, because assuming she and Steven are together,
Yeah, I think that Kristina was very much on board. My read of it was Kristina was very much on board. Like, yeah, we're just telling Rizzo we're going with the plan, right? Right?
Yeah.
Like the Anakin Skywalker Padme meme. Like, you're just telling him that we're going with his plan, right? Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But Steven knows.
Then she goes along with it.
I trust Rizzo.
Yeah.
And I mean, Rizzo was being, cards up here, but Rizzo is like, yeah, like, please, like, let me get another round and not have to use my idol.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
and if
truly,
Savannah goes out due to your advantage as collateral damage, so be it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's sort of where she is. And then Savannah doesn't want to vote for herself. So that's everybody.
Well, I'd like to talk things through a little bit from Savannah's perspective, because I think that Savannah and Rizzo are super interesting in that we've heard Soph start to talk about, listen, I know I'm number 3. Rizzo and Savannah, we don't see them talk too much about their part. Like they talk about each other. Oh, that's my number 1. That's my number 1. But we've never seen either of them talk about, from Rizzo's perspective, can I beat Savannah in the end? And from Savannah's perspective, can I beat Rizzo in the end? Do you feel like that both of them just have, and I mean this lovingly, like just big enough egos that they both feel like, well, of course they're going to vote for me.
Yeah. I do think it's kind of a good partnership because they both have done a lot, right? I mean, like look,
the best partnerships in Survivor are when two people both feel like that they could beat the other person.
I don't know. There's some great partnerships where one person knows that they're going to lose.
Well, okay, fine. Or there's a great partnership where one person knows they're going to win, the other person is also rooting for that person to win. Those are exactly. Are the two best types of partnerships on Survivor.
Yeah. No, I think that's right. Where and I think that's in this case that's really the case where and they both have great stories. I mean, Savannah has been consistently the target, like basically every week, and Rizzo has really played such this masterful strategic game. Between the two, I'm voting for Rizzo here, right? I mean, I think Rizzo is being set up as the Jesse of this season. He's the guy who is the final boss, and they have to get rid of him before the end.
It would be fascinating to see the two of them make it to the final 3 and see how they would argue against. I feel like in my heart of hearts that we're not going to get that. I feel like that one of them is going to not make it all the way. But that would be one of the great showdowns where Savannah has played the game a little bit more out in front, a little bit more that she has taken a lot of the bullets for the alliance, where a lot of people are gunning for her, and it would be a great story that she even got to the end. Whereas then you see Rizzo has been sort of the operator who's been doing a lot of the maneuvers over these last couple of rounds, especially in the post-merge game. And so he would really be able to talk the game. So it could be a real style versus substance.
Yeah. And I kind of think in that world, style wins. And we've certainly heard everybody saying Savannah's the threat. Savannah's going to win. You just handed her $1 million. And then other people are kind of saying about Rizzo, it's Rizzo. We'll give him a pass. I do think that Rizzo is more of the operator. And I think he is probably getting more overlooked as a threat.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that a big part of what he's been able to do has been that Savannah has been such a shield for him and has taken so much heat of it's Savannah. We got to get Savannah. She's going to win the challenges. And then it's he has an idol, but if he didn't have an idol, I don't feel like anybody would be even thinking about him.
And honestly, people's real fear with his idol is that he's going to play it for Savannah. No one's Rizzo's going to protect himself. It's all but what if he plays his idol for Savannah?
And I do wonder if they got to the final 3, not that Rizzo is a bad speaker, but you see him in the confessionals a lot, and he's sort of I wouldn't say he stumbles over his words, but he's wait, what is it called? How do you say this? He's always correcting himself and going over.
Well, this
and over.
He really was. He was 2 stones, 2 birds.
Yeah, it's what is it called? The thing I'm trying to do. And again, I mean this, lovingly as as a 25-year-old, 26-year-old, ahead of where I was certainly, but Savannah is just so polished, where you feel like that could be a good spot for her in the final 3. I do think that she could probably use a little humility in terms of the final 3. I think that she could probably need to bring a little bit more grace to it. And I forget what she said in the tribal council where she was talking about how she was out for revenge tonight, but for people that said her name, where she's so strong and so powerful that but I do feel like that maybe in the finals, I think you want to sort of balance that a little bit.
Yeah, she was doing her "oh damn, I got you" face to Sophie today. Oh, got you. I mean, didn't you see that? She did it last week to Jawan. She was,
Can we get that as a GIF? Yeah. Okay. Steven, you've already given out the fishy for tonight.
I think so. I mean, we're not giving it to Steven, are we?
No, I don't think so. I think because I think that there was probably a move there, and call me crazy, but I'm not feeling overly great about that Steven and Kristina are going to be able to figure this out at the final 6.
Yeah,
I'm not bullish.
Yeah, who's going home next week? Probably Steven.
Maybe it's Sage.
It could be Rizzo.
It could be. I guess the question is, do you think that Knowledge is Power will get fired next week at 6?
Well, I just want to know when it expires. That's a real question.
Yeah, I don't know for sure. I want to say that I feel like in Survivor 42, it was, I feel like there was a little bit of talk at the final 7 about it being the last time to play it, but obviously that was not the case tonight.
Yeah. AI, which I just Googled it. It says knowledge expire, but this is really where AI is frequently wrong.
Yeah.
And again, like I just Googled it.
I do not trust it at all.
Only 6.
Talk about knowledge is power, and then we get to like the AI overview of the advantage. What does it say?
Not useful. It says 6, but that's really a place. This is really, especially game mechanics. When I Google clock tower mechanics, it's very frequently entirely wrong.
Yeah, I think 6 probably makes sense functionally. I'm not sure about like the other advantages and when they expire. I'm not sure why everything just doesn't expire at 5, but I think that there could be like an advantage get-in situation, and maybe that at 6 is when they feel like that at 5 there's too few people.
But 5, I mean, if the idol is live at 5, then Knowledge is Power should be live at 5, because that would be the dream. Is she like does it at 5 and like they idol him out there? And like that would what a story.
If it does expire at 6, then it's definitely coming out next week.
Yeah. Yeah. And then presumably on Rizzo, because that's her move. That's her only move. She's got to.
Yeah, I think that if you take his idol, I think you got to take him out also. Like, I think it would be kind of like a little bit.
Although I don't know, that actually would. Sorry.
You don't think it'd be like a weird 1-2 punch of like, I'm Rizzo, do you have an idol? And it's like, and we're voting out Kristina tonight.
I think if you take Rizzo's idol and you totally defang him, and then you take out Savannah, and Rizzo's left in the game is like, I've got nothing. Like,
okay.
you like completely
that would be an interesting 1-2 punch of like, if you took Rizzo's idol and then voted out Savannah, where it's like, then you expect it to be like, okay, I'm stealing, I'm that, you steal the vote of the person, then everybody expects that you're going to vote them out, and then you don't.
Yeah, that was my move, Rob. I was so excited for that move where I was going to steal someone's vote, and then Joe was going to, well, whatever. Okay.
Listen, let's talk about what you're excited about now. Let's talk about this little book project, the little book that is changing lives, Escape.
By
Stephen Fishbach. He's going on tour.
Yeah, so this is really exciting. So people already know that I'm going to be on January 27th in Washington, D.C. at Politics and Prose with Dalton Ross, as I announced last week. On January 29th in Austin at Book People with Rick Devens. Tickets are going fast, so if you can make it, please reserve a ticket. They are free. Then January 30th at the Strand, again, almost sold out with Emily Nussbaum in New York City. I think that's going to be a really fun event. So if you can make it to there, reserve now. 3 new dates. On February 2nd, I will be in Madison,
Groundhog's Day. Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. Groundhog Day.
That was a mistake. It's not on Metro North. At RJ Julia Booksellers, there is free registration at on my website. And then here's a big one. In Boston on February 3rd, I'll be at Trident Booksellers with Sophie Clark.
Wow.
And tickets are required. So please go to my website, stephenfishbach.com, go to the events page, and you can get a ticket there. And then in the following day, February 4th, I will be in Providence, Rhode Island, another big one, because that is my old hometown. And there are free tickets required for that as well. Rob, before we go on to the next thing, I have a very fun exclusive promotion for people who pre-order the hardcover of my book, because
what is it?
First of all, I'm trying to get more people to pre-order the hardcover. If you're waiting to get it till after it's released, this will not be available to you.
What is it?
I've been partnering with the great artist Eric Reichenbach to design a custom map of the island that Escape is set on.
I could use that.
He's right, and he's drawing it now. I mean, I don't know if he's doing it right now, but we have we've been mock-ups back and forth, and anybody who pre-orders the book, a hardcover copy of the book in the United States, and mail I will send limited supplies while supplies last, a limited edition copy of this map, color copy of this map. Email me escapefishback@gmail.com with map in the subject line, proof of purchase, and your address, and I will get you this map. Again, limited edition while supplies last. So it might take some time for me to do it. Eric has to draw the map. I have to mail probably hundreds of copies of the map. So it may take some time, but I will get it to you if you qualify. Yeah. Order now.
All right. Take a drink after all that. That was an endurance challenge that you went through to get all that out.
And dangerous.
But I have been reading Escape, and I really have loved it because only Stephen Fishbach can take you inside the incredibly demented brain of the reality TV star that I've never seen it captured this way. The thoughts, the conversations that the reality stars are having in candid moments, that Stephen really captures that world of what it's like to not just like be a participant in a reality TV show, but to go inside the headspace of someone that has participated in the reality TV show and the games that get played even after the shows are over. So Stephen does a really incredible job. And I just have been, so it's been, again, it's my work. So it's especially interesting to me, but I just think that you've done such a good job of capturing that.
Well, thank you. So, I mean, truly, like when, I mean, that's such an honor. I mean, for someone who's lived it to be like, hey, this resonates true for me. Rick Devens, who is interviewing me in Austin, read it and then shared it with his wife. It's like as a way of showing her a little bit what it's like for a contestant dealing with the producers and what it's really like out there. So I was like, that's it. You know, like if I'm like capturing it in such a way that people are sharing it with their wives to show them what their experience was like, I was like, you know what? I feel pretty good about that. I don't know if everyone's going to love this book. Hopefully they do, but I feel like I have like achieved what I wanted to achieve with it.
I have a million questions for you once I finish it. So I'm like halfway through. I'm at that, you know, basically if this was a New Era season, I'm like on day 14.
Okay.
So it's just past the halfway point.
Yeah.
Okay. I told you about the podcast coming up this week. We are in the home stretch of the Survivor season. And then on Friday, I'll be taking questions with the patrons. Join us for the patron Q&A for episode number 11, Friday at 3 p.m. And then I'll talk about it all on Monday with Chappelle over on Club Condo. So check that out. Had a very fun Club Condo this past week that we do every week. We talk about the episode, all of the funny things that happen in the episode, and everything else that's going on in the world of Survivor social media, the very convoluted for reality TV star world that, you know, the types of things that Stephen talks about at Escape, in Escape that happen at charity events. That's where we talk about it on Club Condo. I was also, so far to this point, I've been very happy in Escape that you have not really like gone in on the reality stars with podcasts.
Yeah,
calling them losers.
It's all about this demented podcast host.
Yeah, there was like a paragraph about people with podcasts and like talking strategy and stuff like that. But I've been relieved that Stephen did not roast me in Escape. Okay, of course, check out everything else we have going on over at WeKnowSurvivor.com is the podcast feed where every week we've got tons of stuff coming your way. The B&B, Global Survivor, Why Blank Lost, and Survivor News with the baby boy Bryce Isaiah. Check that out. Amazing Race is coming to its conclusion on Thursday night. Mike and Jess will have the recap of the final four for the Amazing Race. And also, we had so many people tell us that they love the new merch from the Brandon Donlin collection. Go to robasawebsite.com/merch to check out all the new stuff that we've just added over there. And check out Rob as a Podcast nominated for the Reality TV Awards. Go to robasawebsite.com/vote. And if I may I do a book
Please.
promo here for a second?
Yeah.
But basically, look, here it is. The tribe and I have spoken. Everything I know about Survivor, I have poured into this book. 15 years of podcasting, 25 plus years of following the show. It will trace my personal history with Survivor from when I was a broke college student in Oswego, New York, all through the Rob is a Podcast era, and everything that I have learned and know about Survivor is here for you, including a strategy guide of how to win Survivor. No refunds, though. Check it out, robhasabook.com. And if you order around the holidays, we have a postcard that we're going to send people between now and December 20th. If you want to give the gift of The Tribe and I Have Spoken. All right.
That's such a good idea. Hey, is that the real one or is that menus? Still?
No, it's still that. I heard that there's going to be some real ones coming out soon, but this is still just this is the Rizzo fake idol of books. Yeah. So I was hoping for you to play your book, and then I have a fake book, and I was going to use it, and it worked perfectly. All right. Steven, anything else on your mind?
No. Yeah, you know what? I just want to say, in these dark times for America, I don't know if they're dark times, but I think probably a lot of people feel like being at Disney World. I was in the buffet at Disney World. Everyone is so polite to each other. You know, it was just like a reminder. No, it was lovely. Like, people are taking their turns. Oh, please, after you. Oh, I see your kid. You know, like, people are just really nice to each other. And it was just such a reminder to like how fundamentally decent. You know, you get a lot of people in a room, and they're all just like mostly really polite and thoughtful to each other.
Yeah, I do think that Disneyland has been a place, and I think they have worked very hard to maintain this, where, you know, red America, blue America can come together and congregate and still have a Main Street USA that works.
Yeah, let's put the heads of Disney. Is what's his name still in charge?
Bob Iger.
Is Iger still in charge?
He is.
Yeah.
I think there was some talk about once upon a time that he was going to run for president, but I don't think that's
probably a little bit. Yeah.
But Steven, would love to get more of your Disney World review. Was it crowded? Like, I heard that still crowded. I heard that there were less crowds.
Yeah, less crowds. You know, it was the week before, right after Thanksgiving. So, you know, I think a lot of people go Thanksgiving. This was like the week after, so it was actually
a lot of people go holidays also.
Yeah. So I think that we picked a week when we didn't think anyone else would be there.
Smart. Okay. All right. How many days did you do?
Just 2 days at the parks. There's a lot. I got little kids.
You just main Magic Kingdom?
Mostly Magic Kingdom. We also did some evenings at Hollywood Studios and an evening at Epcot. Yeah. Just for a few like scattered experience. You know, we went to the Frozen ride at Epcot. San Angel Inn, and then at the Hollywood Studios, we went to the Beauty and the Beast show, and we went to the diner restaurant, which was amazing. The like sci-fi diner restaurant where you sit.
It was good. That's good.
Yeah, but the sci-fi was like the sci-fi trailers were a little scary for my daughter, so it was a little much. But overall, amazing. I mean, great for me. I loved it.
All right. We got a busy Thursday coming up here on RHAP. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye. This is RHAP. We know reality TV.